Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's English lesson. I'm so excited to talk with you about something we all do every single day, introducing ourselves. It doesn't matter if you're meeting your new neighbor, starting a new job, or making friends at a coffee shop. Knowing how to introduce yourself properly can really make a big difference in your life. Today, we're going to explore different ways to introduce yourself in many different situations. We'll practice together, and by the end of this lesson, you'll feel much more confident when you meet new people. Don't worry if English isn't your first language. We're going to take this step by step, nice and easy. Let's start with the most basic question. What exactly is a self-introduction? Well, it's simply the way you tell someone about yourself when you meet them for the first time. Think of it like opening a door to a new friendship or relationship. The words you choose, the way you speak, and even your body language all work together to create that very important first impression. Now, here's something really interesting. The way you introduce yourself changes depending on where you are and who you're talking to. You wouldn't introduce yourself the same way to your new boss as you would to someone sitting next to you on the bus, right? That's perfectly normal, and it's actually a sign that you understand social situations well. Let me share a little story with you. Last month, I was at the grocery store, and I accidentally bumped into someone while reaching for apples. Instead of just saying sorry and walking away, I smiled and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm Sarah, by the way. I guess I got a little too excited about these apples." The other person laughed and introduced herself too. We ended up having a lovely 5-minute conversation about cooking, and now we wave to each other whenever we see each other around the neighborhood. That's the magic of a good introduction. It can turn an awkward moment into a pleasant connection. But here's the thing. Not every situation calls for the same type of introduction. Sometimes you need to be formal, sometimes casual, and sometimes somewhere in between. Let's talk about casual introductions first, because these are probably the ones you'll use most often in everyday life. Imagine you're at a friend's birthday party, and someone walks up to your group. This is the perfect time for a casual introduction. You might say something like, "Hi there, I'm Jessica. I work with Mike, the birthday guy." See how simple that was? You gave your name and a little context about how you know the host. This helps the other person understand your connection and gives them something to talk about. Or maybe you're at the park with your dog, and another dog owner comes over because their dog wants to play with yours. You could say, "Hello. I'm Tom, and this energetic little guy is Charlie. He loves making new friends." Notice how you included your pet's name too. That's because in this situation, your dog is part of the conversation. Here's another casual scenario. You're taking an art class for the first time, and you're sitting next to someone who looks friendly. During the break, you might say, "Hi, I'm Maria. This is my first time trying watercolors. How about you?" This introduction shows you're new, which might make the other person want to help you feel welcome, and you're asking about them too, which shows you're interested in having a conversation. The key to casual introductions is to be warm, friendly, and relaxed. Don't worry about being perfect. People appreciate authenticity more than perfect grammar. Smile when you speak, make eye contact, and don't be afraid to share a little bit about yourself. Now, let's move on to more formal situations. These might feel a little scary at first, but once you practice, they become much easier. Formal introductions usually happen in professional settings, like job interviews, business meetings, or networking events. Imagine you're starting a new job, and your manager is introducing you to your team. When it's your turn to speak, you might say, Good morning, everyone. My name is David Chen, and I'm excited to be joining the marketing team as the new graphic designer. I have 5 years of experience in digital design, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Did you notice how this introduction was different? You used your full name, mentioned your job title, gave a brief overview of your experience, and expressed enthusiasm about working there. In formal situations, people expect a bit more information about your professional background. Here's another formal scenario. You're at a professional conference, and during the networking session, you meet someone from another company. You might say, "Hello, I'm Dr. Lisa Park. I'm a pediatric nurse at the Children's Hospital downtown. I'm here to learn about the latest developments in child health care. What brings you to the conference?" In this introduction, you included your title, your workplace, and why you're at the event. You also asked a question to keep the conversation going. This is a great strategy in professional settings because it shows you're interested in the other person's work too. Sometimes, you'll find yourself in situations that are neither completely casual nor completely formal. Maybe you're at your child's school meeting other parents, or you're joining a new gym class, or you're at a community volunteer event. These situations call for what we might call semi-formal introductions. Let's say you're volunteering at a local food bank for the first time. When the coordinator asks volunteers to introduce themselves, you might say, "Hi everyone, I'm Rachel, and I'm new here today. I recently moved to the neighborhood and wanted to get involved in helping the community. I'm really glad to be here." This introduction strikes a nice balance. It's friendly and personal, but also respectful of the serious work you're all doing together. Or imagine you're at a parent-teacher conference and you're chatting with other parents while waiting. You could say, "Hello, I'm Kevin's mom, Susan. Kevin is in Mrs. Johnson's third grade class. How do you like the school so far?" You identified yourself in relation to your child, which is relevant in this setting, and you asked a friendly question. Now, let's talk about some special situations that might come up. What if you have a name that's difficult for English speakers to pronounce? Don't worry, this happens to many people, and there are good ways to handle it. You could say something like, "Hi, my name is Priya, that's Priya. It's pronounced Priya, but please call me Pri if that's easier." By spelling it out and giving the pronunciation, you're helping people remember your name correctly. And by offering a shorter version, you're making it comfortable for everyone. What if you're in a situation where you don't speak English perfectly yet, and you're worried about making mistakes? Here's a gentle way to handle that. You could say, "Hello, my name is Carlos. I'm still learning English, so please be patient with me, but I'm very happy to meet you." Most people will appreciate your honesty and will be happy to help you practice. Sometimes you might be in a group setting where everyone is introducing themselves. Maybe it's the first day of a class, or a new employee orientation, or a support group meeting. In these situations, you usually have a minute or two to tell everyone about yourself. Here's an example for a cooking class. "Hi everyone, I'm Amanda. I'm a teacher at the elementary school across town, and I decided to take this class because I'm tired of eating the same 5 meals over and over again. My family is probably tired of them too. I'm hoping to learn how to make some delicious new dishes that won't take me 3 hours to prepare. I'm excited to cook and eat with all of you." This introduction worked well because Amanda shared her name, her job, why she's taking the class, a little humor about her situation, and her enthusiasm about learning with the group. It was personal but not too private, and it probably made other people feel more comfortable sharing about themselves too. What about online situations? These days, we meet people online all the time, through video calls, social media, or online classes. The principles are the same, but there are a few things to keep in mind. If you're joining a video call with people you haven't met before, you might say, "Hello everyone, I'm joining from sunny California. My name is Michael, and I'm the new marketing coordinator. I'm looking forward to working with the team, even if it's from a distance for now." You mentioned your location, which can be a nice icebreaker in virtual meetings, and acknowledged the remote working situation. For online classes or workshops, you might say, "Hi, this is Jennifer logging in from my home office in Chicago. I'm a freelance writer, and I signed up for this course to improve my social media skills for my business. Thanks for having me." This gives context about where you are and why you're there. Now, let's talk about body language and tone of voice, because these are just as important as the words you use. Even if you say all the right words, if your body language doesn't match, people might get confused about what you're really feeling. When you introduce yourself, try to make eye contact. I know this can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're shy or if eye contact isn't common in your culture. But in American culture, eye contact shows that you're confident and interested in the conversation. If making eye contact feels too intense, you can look at the space between someone's eyebrows. It looks like eye contact to them, but it might feel more comfortable for you. Stand or sit up straight, but not stiff like a soldier. You want to look confident and approachable. If you're standing, keep your feet about shoulder-width apart. This makes you look stable and confident. Keep your hands relaxed at your sides or gently clasped in front of you. Smile. This is so important. A genuine smile makes people feel welcome and makes you seem friendly and approachable. Even if you're nervous, try to smile. It actually helps you feel more confident too. Scientists have proven that smiling, even when we don't feel like it, can actually make us feel happier. Your voice tone matters a lot too. Try to speak clearly and at a normal pace. When we're nervous, we sometimes talk too fast, and then people can't understand us. It's okay to speak a little slower than you think you need to. This is especially helpful if English isn't your first language. People will appreciate that they can understand you clearly. Don't be afraid to show some enthusiasm in your voice. If you sound bored or tired when you introduce yourself, people might think you don't want to talk to them. You don't have to sound like a cheerleader, but a little warmth and interest in your voice goes a long way. Let's practice some common mistakes that people make when introducing themselves so you can avoid them. One big mistake is sharing too much personal information right away. For example, you wouldn't want to say, "Hi, I'm Sarah, and I just got divorced last month, and I'm here trying to meet new people because I'm really lonely." That's way too much personal information for a first meeting. Save the deep personal stuff for after you've gotten to know someone better. Another mistake is being too negative. Avoid saying things like, "Hi, I'm John, and I hate these kinds of events, but my friend made me come." Even if that's true, it makes you sound unfriendly and makes other people feel uncomfortable. Instead, you could say, "Hi, I'm John. My friend convinced me to try something new tonight, so here I am." Don't apologize for yourself right away. Some people say things like, "Sorry, I'm not very good at this," or "Sorry, my English isn't perfect." While honesty is good, starting with apologies can make you seem less confident than you really are. If you need to mention something about your English, do it in a positive way like, "I'm still improving my English, but I love practicing with new people." Another common mistake is making your introduction too long. Remember, an introduction should be like an appetizer, not the entire meal. Give people enough information to start a conversation, but don't tell your whole life story in the first 2 minutes. Now, let's talk about what to do after you introduce yourself. The conversation doesn't end when you finish saying your name. A good introduction should lead naturally into more conversation. After you introduce yourself, it's polite to ask the other person about themselves. You could say, "And what about you?" Or "How about you?" Or "What's your story?" This shows that you're interested in them too, not just in talking about yourself. Listen carefully to their introduction. Try to remember their name, and if you forget it immediately, don't panic. It's perfectly okay to say, "I'm sorry, could you tell me your name again? I want to make sure I remember it correctly." Most people will be flattered that you care about getting their name right. Look for something in their introduction that you can comment on or ask about. If they mention they're new in town, you could ask how they like it so far. If they mention their job, you could ask what that's like. If they mention a hobby, you might share that you're interested in that too, or ask them to tell you more about it. Here's something really important to remember. Different cultures have different ways of introducing themselves and interacting with new people. In American culture, it's generally considered friendly to ask follow-up questions and to share a moderate amount of personal information. But someone from a different cultural background might prefer to share less personal information at first, or they might not ask as many questions. That's perfectly fine, and it doesn't mean they're unfriendly. Be sensitive to these differences, and don't take it personally if someone doesn't respond exactly the way you expect. Some people are naturally more talkative, and others are more reserved. Some people love meeting new people, and others find it stressful. Just be your authentic, friendly self, and let other people be themselves too. Let's practice with some specific scenarios that you might encounter. Imagine you're at a community barbecue in your neighborhood and you see someone standing alone by the food table. You could walk over and say, "Hi there. I don't think we've met yet. I'm Lisa from the Blue House on Maple Street. This food looks amazing, doesn't it?" This introduction works well because you approached someone who looked approachable. You mentioned where you live, which gives you something in common, and you made a comment about something happening right there, the food. It's natural and gives the other person several things they could respond to. Or let's say you're at your child's soccer game and you're sitting next to another parent you haven't met. During halftime, you might say, "Hi, I'm Mark, Tommy's dad. He's number 7 on the blue team. Which one is yours?" This introduction is perfect for the situation because you identified yourself through your child, which is how parents often connect at these events. Here's another scenario. You're taking a fitness class at a new gym, and the instructor asks everyone to introduce themselves. You might say, "Hi everyone, I'm Kate. I just moved here from Portland, and I'm excited to get back into a regular exercise routine. I used to love yoga, but I thought I'd try something new. Looking forward to getting to know all of you." This introduction shares relevant information about why you're there and shows you're open to making connections. What if you're in a more challenging situation? Let's say you're at a work conference and you want to introduce yourself to someone who seems very important or successful. You might feel intimidated, but remember, they're just people too. You could say, "Excuse me, Dr. Williams. My name is Jennifer Kim, and I'm a nurse practitioner from Community Health Center. I really enjoyed your presentation on patient care innovations. I was wondering if I could ask you a quick question about implementing some of these ideas in smaller clinics. This introduction works because you were respectful of their time. You mentioned something specific about their presentation, which shows you were paying attention, and you asked for something specific rather than just trying to chat. Even very busy, important people usually appreciate when someone has clearly thought about what they want to discuss. Sometimes you'll be in situations where you need to introduce yourself to a group of people who already know each other. This can feel a little awkward, but it doesn't have to be. Let's say you're starting a new job and you walk into the break room where several coworkers are having lunch together. You could say, "Hi everyone, sorry to interrupt. I'm the new person, Alex, starting in the accounting department today. Please don't let me disturb your lunch. I just wanted to say hello." Then you can get your coffee or whatever you came for and leave them to their conversation. Later, you can introduce yourself to individuals when it's more natural. Or maybe you're at a party where you only know the host and they're busy with other guests. You see a small group laughing and having a good time, and you'd like to join them. You could walk up during a natural pause in their conversation and say, "Hi, I hope you don't mind me joining you. I'm Alex, I work with Jenny, the hostess. You all seem to be having such a great time over here." If they welcome you, great. If they seem like they want to continue their private conversation, you can politely excuse yourself and try another group. The key in these situations is to be confident, but not pushy, friendly, but respectful of the existing group dynamic. Most people are welcoming to newcomers, especially if you approach them in a warm, genuine way. Let's talk about some special situations you might encounter. What if someone introduces themselves to you first and you want to respond appropriately? Let's say someone approaches you and says, "Hi, I'm David from the marketing team." You would respond with something like, "Nice to meet you, David. I'm Sarah from customer service. How long have you been with the company?" Notice how you repeated their name. This is a great habit to develop because it helps you remember their name, and people like to hear their own name. You also shared similar information about yourself, your name, and department, and then asked a follow-up question to keep the conversation going. What if you meet someone again but you can't remember their name? This happens to everyone, so don't feel bad about it. You could say, "Hi, it's great to see you again. I'm terrible with names. Could you remind me of yours?" Or, "Hi there. We met at the Johnsons' party last month, didn't we? I'm Sarah, just in case you don't remember either." Most people will appreciate your honesty and will be happy to remind you. Here's another tricky situation. What if you're introduced to someone and you didn't catch their name clearly? Don't just smile and nod and hope you'll figure it out later. Instead, say something like, "I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name clearly. Could you say it again?" It's much better to ask immediately than to go through an entire conversation not knowing someone's name. Now, let's discuss introducing yourself in professional networking situations, because these can be particularly important for your career. At networking events, you often have just a minute or two to make a good impression and exchange information with someone. Your networking introduction should be a little longer than a casual introduction, but still concise. Here's a good formula. Your name, what you do, something interesting or unique about your work or background, and a question about them. For example, "Hi, I'm Robert Chen, and I'm a software developer specializing in educational apps. I just launched an app that helps kids learn math through games, and it's been really exciting to see how much fun kids have while learning. What kind of work brings you here tonight?" This introduction gives enough information for the other person to understand what you do and remember you later. but it's not so long that you monopolize the conversation. The question at the end shows you're interested in them too. Sometimes at networking events, you'll be asked to give a longer introduction, maybe 30 seconds to a minute. This is sometimes called an elevator pitch because it should be short enough to deliver during a brief elevator ride. Here's an example. I'm Maria Rodriguez, and I'm a graphic designer who specializes in helping small businesses create professional-looking marketing materials on a budget. I started my own design studio 3 years ago after working for a large agency because I wanted to focus on helping entrepreneurs and small business owners who can't afford big agency prices. I love taking a business owner's vision and turning it into eye-catching flyers, websites, and social media graphics that really represent their brand. I'm always interested in meeting new business owners who might need design help or other creative professionals who might want to collaborate. This elevator pitch tells you what Maria does, why she does it, what makes her different, and who she wants to meet. It's personal enough to be memorable but professional enough for a business setting. Let's talk about virtual introductions, since so many of us are meeting people online these days. Whether it's a video call, an online class, or a virtual networking event, there are some special considerations for introducing yourself online. First, make sure your technology is working well before you start talking. Nothing ruins a good introduction like audio problems or a frozen video. If you can, test your microphone and camera ahead of time. When introducing yourself on video, look at your camera, not at your screen. This creates the impression of eye contact with the other participants. Sit up straight and make sure you're well lit so people can see your face clearly. Your online introduction might sound something like this. Hello, everyone. This is Patricia calling in from Denver. I'm a marketing manager at a nonprofit focused on environmental education. I'm excited to be part of this virtual conference and to learn from all of you, even though we can't be in the same room together. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. Notice how she mentioned her location, which is common in virtual meetings since people might be joining from anywhere. She also acknowledged the virtual format, which shows awareness of the situation we're all in. For online classes or workshops, you might say, "Hi, I'm Jason, joining from my home office here in Seattle. I'm a freelance photographer, and I signed up for this course because I want to improve my business skills. I'm looking forward to learning with all of you, and I hope we can share ideas and support each other even though we're not meeting in person." One thing to remember about virtual introductions is that there might be a slight delay in the audio, so speak a little more slowly than you normally would, and pause between different points to make sure everyone can follow along. Now let's explore some cultural considerations when introducing yourself to people from different backgrounds. The United States is a very diverse country, and you'll meet people from all over the world. While everyone living in America is generally familiar with American social customs, people's comfort levels with different types of interactions can vary based on their cultural background. Some cultures value formal respect, especially when meeting someone older or in a position of authority. If you're unsure, it's always better to start a little more formally and then become more casual if the other person seems comfortable with that. In some cultures, people prefer not to shake hands, especially between men and women who don't know each other. During the pandemic, many people became more cautious about physical contact in general. A friendly nod, a wave, or placing your hand over your heart can be good alternatives to a handshake. Some people come from cultures where it's not common to share personal information with people you've just met. If someone gives you a very brief introduction, don't take it personally. They might just need more time to feel comfortable before they open up. On the other hand, some cultures are very warm and expressive, and people from these backgrounds might want to hug you or stand closer to you than they feel comfortable with you. It's perfectly okay to step back a little or to say something like, "I'm still being careful about social distancing," if someone gets too close for your comfort. The most important thing is to be respectful and observant. Watch how other people are interacting and follow their lead. When in doubt, ask. Most people appreciate when you say something like, "I want to be respectful. What's the best way to greet you?" Let's practice some more scenarios. Imagine you're at a dog park and your dog starts playing with someone else's dog. This creates a natural opportunity for conversation. You might say, "Looks like our dogs are becoming fast friends. I'm Chris, and this is my golden retriever buddy." This introduction acknowledges what's happening in the moment and includes your pet, which is relevant to the setting. Or let's say you're waiting in line at a coffee shop, and the person in front of you orders the same complicated drink you were planning to order. You might say, "Great choice. I was going to order exactly the same thing. I'm Emma, by the way. Do you come here often? I'm new to the neighborhood and still trying all the local spots." This creates a natural connection based on shared taste and opens the door to getting recommendations about the area. Here's another scenario. You're at a book club meeting for the first time, and everyone is discussing the month selection before the official meeting starts. You could jump in by saying, "Hi everyone, I'm new here. I'm Rachel, and I have to say, I had such mixed feelings about this book. I'm curious to hear what everyone else thought." This introduces you and immediately contributes to the ongoing conversation. Sometimes you'll find yourself in situations where you need to introduce yourself to someone who seems busy or preoccupied. Maybe they're checking their phone, or they seem to be in a hurry, or they're focused on something else. In these cases, it's important to be respectful of their time and attention. You might say, "Excuse me, I don't want to interrupt, but I wanted to quickly introduce myself. I'm the new team member, Marcus, starting in your department on Monday. I just wanted to say hello when I saw you." This acknowledges that you're interrupting, keeps the introduction brief, and gives them an easy out if they need to keep moving. What about situations where you're introducing yourself as part of a presentation or speech? Maybe you're giving a talk at a conference, leading a workshop, or presenting at a community meeting. In these cases, your introduction serves a slightly different purpose. You're not just telling people your name, you're establishing your credibility and connecting with your audience. You might say something like, "Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Susan Martinez, and I'm a pediatric nutritionist with 15 years of experience helping families develop healthy eating habits. I'm also a mom of 3, so I understand firsthand how challenging it can be to get kids to eat their vegetables. Today, I want to share some practical strategies that have worked both in my practice and in my own home." This introduction establishes her professional credentials, creates a personal connection with parents in the audience, and previews what she's going to talk about. It's informative, but also warm and relatable. Let's talk about what to do when introductions don't go smoothly. Sometimes you'll mispronounce someone's name, or you'll forget someone's name right after they tell you, or you'll say something that doesn't quite come out right. Don't panic. These things happen to everyone, even native English speakers. If you mispronounce someone's name, just apologize and ask them to correct you. Say something like, "I'm sorry, I want to make sure I'm saying your name correctly. Could you help me with the pronunciation?" Most people will appreciate that you care about getting it right. If you forget someone's name immediately after they tell you, it's okay to ask again. You can say, "I'm sorry, I was so nervous about introducing myself that I didn't catch your name. Could you tell me again?" Or you could be a little humorous about it. "I'm terrible with names. Could you remind me of yours? I promise I'll remember it this time." Sometimes you might start an introduction and then get tongue-tied or say something that doesn't make sense. Just take a breath, smile, and say something like, "Let me start over. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to meet you. I'm Jennifer, and I work in the accounting department." People understand that introductions can be nerve-wracking, and they'll appreciate your honesty. Now, let's discuss following up after you've introduced yourself to someone. If you've had a good conversation and you'd like to stay in touch, it's important to do this appropriately. In professional settings, you might exchange business cards or LinkedIn information. You could say something like, "I've really enjoyed talking with you. Here's my card. I'd love to continue this conversation sometime." Or, "Would you be interested in connecting on LinkedIn? I'd love to stay in touch." In social settings, you might exchange phone numbers or social media information. Keep it casual and don't pressure anyone. You could say, "I hope we run into each other again soon. Would you like to exchange numbers in case any interesting events come up in the area?" If someone doesn't seem interested in staying in touch, that's perfectly fine too. Not every introduction needs to lead to a lasting relationship. Just say something like, "Well, it was really nice meeting you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening." Let's talk about some advanced introduction techniques that can help you make even better connections. One technique is called mirroring, where you subtly match the other person's communication style. If they speak slowly and thoughtfully, you can slow down a bit too. If they're energetic and enthusiastic, you can match some of that energy. This doesn't mean copying them exactly, just adjusting your style slightly to make them feel more comfortable. Another technique is finding common ground quickly. Listen carefully to what people tell you about themselves and look for connections. Maybe you went to school in the same city, or you both have young children, or you both enjoy hiking. When you find these connections, mention them. People love discovering things they have in common with others. You can also use what's called a conversation hook in your introduction. This is a small, interesting detail about yourself that gives other people something specific to ask about or comment on. Instead of just saying, "I'm a teacher," you might say, "I'm a third-grade teacher, and yesterday one of my students asked me why elephants don't have wings." This gives the other person a fun detail to respond to. As we wrap up our exploration of self-introductions, let's remember the most important principles. First, be authentic. Don't try to be someone you're not just to impress others. People can usually tell when you're not being genuine, and authentic connections are much more satisfying anyway. Second, be interested in others. The best conversationalists are those who ask good questions and listen carefully to the answers. Your introduction is just the beginning of a potential relationship, so show that you care about getting to know the other person too. Third, practice makes perfect. The more you introduce yourself to new people, the more comfortable and natural it will become. Look for opportunities to meet new people, whether it's at work events, community activities, classes, or just in everyday situations like the grocery store or the park. Fourth, don't be too hard on yourself. Everyone feels awkward sometimes when meeting new people. Even people who seem very confident and social have moments when they don't know what to say or when they feel nervous. It's all part of being human. Remember that cultural differences are normal and interesting, not obstacles to overcome. When you meet people from different backgrounds, you have an opportunity to learn about different ways of seeing the world. Be curious and respectful, and don't assume that everyone will interact exactly the way you do. Finally, keep in mind that not every introduction will lead to a deep friendship or important professional connection, and that's perfectly okay. Sometimes you'll meet someone and have a pleasant 5-minute conversation, and that's the end of it. Other times, a simple introduction might be the beginning of a relationship that changes your life. You never know which it will be, so approach each new meeting with openness and optimism. Before we finish, let's do a quick review of the key points we've covered today. We talked about different types of introductions for different situations, from casual social settings to formal professional environments. We discussed the importance of body language, tone of voice, and cultural sensitivity. We explored online introductions and how they differ from in-person meetings. We practiced handling difficult situations like forgetting names or feeling nervous, and we looked at advanced techniques for making stronger connections. Most importantly, we emphasized being authentic, showing interest in others, and remembering that meeting new people is one of life's great pleasures, even when it feels challenging. I hope this lesson has given you more confidence about introducing yourself in all kinds of situations. Remember, everyone you meet was once a stranger, including some of your closest friends and most important professional contacts. Every introduction is an opportunity, whether it's for a brief, pleasant interaction or the beginning of something wonderful. Keep practicing, be patient with yourself as you improve, and don't forget to enjoy the process of meeting new people. Each person you meet has their own unique story, experiences, and perspective on the world. When you introduce yourself with warmth and genuine interest, you're opening the door to learning about that person's story and sharing a part of yours with them. Thank you for spending this time learning with me today. I hope you'll use these skills to make many wonderful new connections in your life. Remember, the world is full of interesting people just waiting to meet someone like you. All it takes is a simple introduction to get started. Good luck and happy meeting.